But nothing shows the bizarre, fun-loving side of medieval faith better than the Feast of Fools. As grim as all that sounds, medieval religious life wasn't all fear and punishment. It's one of the great contradictions of the era. The same church that could spiritually destroy a man also sponsored most of the parties. The general attitude seemed to be that being a good Christian didn't mean you couldn't have a good time. The area around the altar was holy, but the main part of the church, the nave, was often used as a kind of indoor town square. People held public meetings there, merchants made business deals, and sometimes political arguments would even break out into riots inside the church walls. The church bells didn't just call people to prayer, they also announced when the market was open, or when there was an important civic assembly. And then there were the religious festivals. There were so many saints' days and holy days on the calendar that bishops sometimes complained that nobody was getting any work done. But for ordinary people, these festivals were the main source of fun and entertainment. After going to Mass in the morning to get the religious part out of the way, people would spend the rest of the day feasting, drinking, dancing, and playing games. The dancing wasn't the polite, structured dancing you might imagine from a historical film. It was often wild, energetic folk dancing. There were wrestling matches and archery contests. By the evening, a good portion of the village would be happily drunk on ale or cheap wine. But nothing shows the bizarre, fun-loving side of medieval faith better than the Feast of Fools. This was an annual festival, usually held around New Year's, that was basically a day of authorized chaos. In many towns, the junior clergy, the young deacons and subdeacons, would elect a lord of misrule, or a pope of fools. This pope would be given a silly costume and would preside over a day of complete social inversion. There were noisy parades through the streets. People would parody the most sacred parts of the Mass. The Pope would issue fake papal decrees commanding people to do ridiculous things. It was a day when the sacred was openly mocked, and the authorities allowed it. They saw it as a necessary safety valve, a way for people to blow off steam so they wouldn't challenge the church's authority the rest of the year.